Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video.
Well, it's another Friday here at Giga-Texas, and there is some news that I'd like to pass along to you if you hadn't heard. Last night, Tesla not only opened up sales of Teslas to Saudi Arabia, which also includes the Cybertruck in addition to the rest of the model lineup, and that is a pretty big piece of news, but they also started talking about the Cybertruck with rear-wheel drive being available in Saudi Arabia. And that was the first indication that we had that something was changing with the lineup. Now, later on that evening, Tesla went ahead and updated the United States, or at least the North American part of their website, to show that the Cybertruck now does in fact have a long-range rear-wheel drive variant. And that may be starting to be in production here very soon, because deliveries purportedly will be starting as early as June, so just about a month and a half away. Now, there are some big differences about the Cybertruck long-range rear-wheel drive that you need to be aware of. First off, it does not have the air suspension, it just has a regular sprung suspension. In addition to that, and it being rear-wheel drive, it's significantly lighter than the all-wheel drive or the Cyberbeast variants. It only has the textile or the cloth interior seats, and it has 18-inch wheels or 20-inch optional wheels. So the 18-inch wheels is something that is new. That does not have the electric tonneau cover. Instead, it comes without one, and then for $750, you can buy a soft tonneau cover that installs on the top and then rolls down and connects at the base near the tailgate. So that is definitely new and different as well. There are a lot of other differences that people are noticing with that rear-wheel drive long-range Cybertruck. The biggest thing is that long range with the tonneau cover gets you up to 362 miles of range, which is the most range of any of the Cybertrucks to date. Now, if we look at the lineup, we have the Cyberbeast at the top at about $99,000. You have the all-wheel drive in the middle at just at $79,000, and then the long-range rear-wheel drive comes in about $10,000 less, around $69,000, and this is all before the $7,500 EV rebate. So it does give you a less expensive, longer range Cybertruck, but it has some features that have been removed that may or may not be popular. So we'll see what's going to happen with the sales as time goes on. Now, as far as here at Giga-Texas, I did notice that there are a lot of Cybertrucks on the site today over at the outbound lot. Several lines of which on the east side of the end-of-line facility getting ready for processing. In the outbound lot north end, there are hundreds of Cybertrucks, and on the south end as well. There's also a good deal of Model Ys in the outbound lot also. I couldn't really tell for sure if any of the Cybertrucks that I saw today are this long-range rear-wheel drive variant. I kind of suspect no. The biggest indicators may be without the tonneau cover that I'll be able to see with the drone. So that'll be definitely something I watch for. Now, shifting gears, one other thing I want to talk to you about today is the Megapacks site that is under construction on the north end, just south of the electrical switch yard. And this is part of improving the electrical system here at Giga-Texas to be able to support not only the factory, but also the Cortex supercomputer clusters. It looks like the installation of Megapacks is continuing at a fast rate. They're about 3/4 of the way installed now, and more have been arriving on trucks, getting ready to be put into place using the large crane. So actually the rate that it's going, if it looks like they continue to bring the Megapacks out like they're doing right now, is by the beginning of the week, they should have all those in place and ready for connections. Now, there's a lot more to see around the site today, and we'll get into the drone right now and fly around and see what it looks like. I hope you have a great weekend. Just remember, the Cybertruck Roundup is happening tomorrow just north of Austin. It's being put on by the Austin Owners Club, and it should be a lot of fun, a lot of Cybertrucks there, and I'm going to try to take the opportunity to ask people what they think about the new long-range rear-wheel drive variant. So anyway, let's get into the drone, let's fly around, see what Giga-Texas looks like today.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. Another beautiful morning here at Giga-Texas, looking across towards the east and the main factory with the sun rising over the horizon. I thought we would start here on the northwest side, looking at this construction site where I've been told is going to be the Welcome Center. And you can tell with the little dirt road on the right, the kind of rubble patch, and this section where they've been doing some of the grade work, it is coming along, although just from this perspective, it looks like there is still room that needs to be completed to raise up that grade and get it level all the way across. So I would expect to see a lot more work in this section for some time as they prepare it for whatever structure that they're going to be building in this location. This is a good look all the way down to the south and then back to where we came from, and you can get a good idea of what that land looks like with all those trees and that large depression. Again, this is still part of the old sand and gravel mine, which is why there's so much terrain altitude differences throughout this entire section. And most of the trees are not natural. They were kind of growing up here through that sand and gravel mine. This is where we are seeing a lot of these steel items being stored. And at the bottom of the screen, it looks like these are bridge crane rails. So this is going to be a pretty substantial structure, or at least used inside a substantial structure once it is completed. And more of the steel is arriving and being stored here daily. And this is where we see the Evapco units with the fans and the bases and some of the supporting equipment. Still not really sure where this is going to be used. I suspect it's going to be at that North Support Campus construction site, but I don't know, and so that's definitely a guess for right now. So we'll continue to monitor and see. Did notice that they have some of these grass mats put around here on the berm just to the north of this staging yard. That's also in the area where we saw the natural gas pipe being installed for the lateral extension of the Sand Hill energy plant far to the south past the Colorado River. That natural gas pipe ran all the way along this side of the building. Now, when we get to the end of line and the outbound lot, what is very noticeable today is the number of Cybertrucks. We'll start here on the east side of the end of line. We see the Cybertrucks lining up. By the time I was leaving the site today after flying, there was two and starting a third line of Cybertrucks on this kind of lane area of the end of line facility. And that's in addition to all of the ones that we're seeing in the outbound lot, which we're going to see here shortly. Now, I know the most common question is can I tell if this is the new long-range rear-wheel drive version? And the answer is I think so, since that one does not have the hard tonneau cover, and you'd have to have an optional soft tonneau cover. So if we look at all of these all appear to have that hard electrically operated tonneau cover. So I think that these are all just the all-wheel drives or Cyber Beasts, at least for right now. We do still see a lot of the new Model Ys throughout the outbound lot, both on the south side and here on the north side. Of course, on the top of the screen is even more Cybertrucks. I did notice that there were a lot of transport trucks picking up and taking these off site today, both the Model Ys and the Cybertrucks. This is Friday, which means that as long as they're continuing with their normal shift, this is not a production day. And that's been going on for nearly a year now. But at the higher altitude, this is what this outbound lot looks like. And you can clearly see all of the Cybertrucks, and they all here appear to have that hard tonneau cover. So I do not think any of these are the new long-range rear-wheel drive, at least not yet, but I'll keep my eye open. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of Model Ys, and on this west side of the outbound lot, you can get a good sense of just how many are here waiting for pickup. And I think that's a pretty good number compared to what we've seen in the past. I'd say production is not all the way up to where it was, but it is definitely coming up, at least for the Model Ys, and it looks like the Cybertrucks to me. I'm going to start over on this staging yard, just kind of flying low over the materials. I'm trying to get an idea of what all is here. We do see a lot of kind of the cable trays on the bottom of the screen that have been used all throughout the site and on the factory. We do see this old Idra box that has been there for quite some time. Some of these trailers, the spools of cable that's used for all the electrical, and I suspect a lot of this is going to be used on that north side with the switchyard and the Megapack site. And as we continue to fly to the south here, much more of the production equipment that has been delivered, some of which is in crates at the bottom of the screen. Some of those have the kind of that silver wrapping. We do see the mobile superchargers here on the bottom of the screen, and on the left-hand side of the screen in this brown wrapping is long-term storage for what I believe to be parts for at least one, if not more, stamping presses that will eventually be installed into the factory somewhere. And in the middle section with that fenced off staging yard, we see even more equipment, some in the crates, some in the blue wrapped, some of them in the silver wrap. And a lot of this, particularly the material we see directly ahead of us, I've been seeing being moved over to the 4680 cell production part of the factory. So we'll continue to monitor and see what happens and when those are moved, and maybe get some better ideas of what all is in this production equipment. I'm coming over to this kind of dirt area. I'm not sure if I would call it a graded area. It's more of a place where they have been extracting and then storing dirt. And in the middle of the screen is where they're currently storing all of the spoils that are coming out of the tunnel boring machine in the caissons. It's kind of like a slurry mix that they use with water and that soil that's in the tunnel. And then it's separated back out by the plant next to the caisson, just to the top of the screen. And then that material is brought over here for storage and possibly used for fill as well. I did notice that we have more of the concrete vaults around where this tent is located. Also, it appears to me that there's a lot more steel that has been delivered and is being stored on the upper right-hand side of the screen. And I did see many trucks arriving today with even more headed in this direction. So I'm going to bring the drone up to a higher altitude, kind of a nice view of the entire West Support Facility and the area just north of the Colorado River. Of course, at the bottom of the screen is where that ecological park will be, at least part of it, extending all the way to the right around the factory, following the Colorado River up to the northeast. While I am here, I'm going to try to stop at the caisson on the south side of the Colorado River and get a quick update of what this looks like today. It appears that the caisson still has at least another ring to go based on what we're seeing on the top with the rebar sticking out. We also see the forms nearby. As I zoom in, this will be a good close-in view down into the bottom of the caisson. We can see that there is no tunnel boring machine activity yet. But it does look like there is a kind of a floor or bottom. So that'll be something I'll be monitoring just to see how this continues to progress. There is another caisson farther to the south of where the drone is, and eventually those may all be connected together. But right now we're going to fly back up over the Colorado River, following the path where the tunnel boring machine goes under the ground, and we'll connect these two caissons. the tunnel boring machine. Here it is, another segment of the concrete pipe being prepared to be pushed in with those hydraulic rams and continuing the process to the south to eventually connect those caissons. And on the ground, you can see some of those concrete pipe segments that are being used for that actual tunnel. Also, in the middle of the screen is that spoils bin that I was talking about, where they have that slurry mixture. It's separated back out, they reclaim the water, and then the material is carted away to that far southwest side. So while we're here, I'm going to prepare to stop flying here, resume on the other side of the highway, and show you some of the work that's going on here near the South Bridge, particularly in the trench box and with the steel corrugated pipe for the underground stormwater management system. There are actually a lot of those pipes of various diameters directly underneath the drone, and it helps to drain out the water around the entire factory and the site. So it looks like they're continuing to add even more into that area. As we fly back towards the main building, I'm going to bring the drone up higher, give you a kind of a shot here from the south end, looking at how this is looking at the ground with some of the irrigation. But there was also something I noticed that I wanted to show you, and I think proponents of the solar panels will be very happy. And that is, we are seeing solar panels now being added on top of these unirack mounts, and the bricks holding those unirack mounts down. There's more solar panels on carts nearby, and the inverters are grouped together and they'll be connected. Now, this is a different section than what has been in the past, and I've been monitoring this for some time. And I think they're going to begin working on this to hopefully extend it to this side of the roof. Eventually, the entire roof will have more than 70,000 panels once that is completed. So anyway, that's an update on what's going on the roof. And again, people keep asking about solar panels. There's an answer. We're starting to see more. On the platform, we see some equipment being lifted up, but near the platform, the big news is that they continue to prepare for the glass installation. And it also looks like there's some very interesting gray trim pieces in the upper part of that opening. Why that is the case, I don't know, and I'm kind of curious to see how that all works out. And it may be just so that they can have an overall window line that matches in where the painted walls under the ground here are, and just it will have some glass, some steel, some of the painted panels, and it will try to blend that together. So it's kind of a very interesting architectural design choice that they have made for that interface. So we fly back over the roof, looking down at that kind of gray tiled section over the cooling unit for the Cortex supercomputer cluster. We're going to come over to the southeast side of the building and drop back down a little and show you the cooling plant. 3 of the 6 fans appear to be operational today, and some additional work on the ground between the cooling plant and the structure. No glass has been added in quite some time for this section of the factory, and this is pretty much how it looks today. The lighting is great to see what's going on at the ground floor of the cooling unit, and how all that is continuing to take shape. We do see more of the crates for the glass being stored on the bottom left, the white plastic covered workshop, and also just some of the materials here along the east side of stamping. Another thing that caught my eye today is on top of the parking garage was a large number of vehicles. Now, 2 days ago, we saw the large 400K emblem here on this part of the roof. Today, it looks like there's a number of different Model Ys up here, and I'm not sure what this event is for, what they're planning on doing. It does look like they are spending some time to organize the cars into the various parking spaces. So perhaps they have another presentation or another video or photography event that's coming up very soon. It's hard to tell. But as I pull away, this will give you a good perspective of what is going on here on the roof and the area around the parking garage. We do see more materials being stored on this material staging yard, in addition to some of the steel corrugated pipe, but it does look like there's some beams that have been put on the ground in that area. There are basically no vehicles here in the old testing and calibration lot. Those two tents are still there. The vehicles that you see in the north part are employees using the charging that is free for the employees. This is a nice view looking to the north across the site with the parking spaces on the upper left, the east warehouse on wheels, and at the bottom of the screen is the recycle yard. And I just wanted to see if there was anything going on here today, but it looks like for the most part, normal operations with recycling. So I'll continue to bring the drone back, reveal some of the workshops and materials and containers that are being stored on this side of the site. Also a nice view overall of the factory with downtown Austin in the upper right. It's just a beautiful day to fly today. And as I continue to pan back towards the north, this is just a great overall view of this east side. As I've mentioned before, all of this on the east side is temporary. Eventually it will be moved away, which will give a lot of space here for Tesla to use, perhaps for further expansion or other construction sites. So it'll be interesting to see once they do that what all this becomes. Now, speaking of construction site, we see the central support facility really taking shape next to the die shop. And then on the south end, this is what it looks like where they've been filling in all of the trenches where they put that stormwater pipe. You can kind of get an idea of where it is rooted right now. And this will eventually connect that site in the upper part of the screen all the way to the water filtration pond on the east side of the battery cathode plant. And also a nice shot of where Tesla Road is going to be expanded through just to the south of the battery cathode plant over to this part of the site. So we're going to fly along the east side to the north of the battery cathode plant over the crash testing facility and get a view of what is going on here today. Another thing that I did notice on the ground is some more of the white beams, and it looks like they're all over this place. Some of them almost look like they may be columns as well. So I'm not sure where that's going to be used, but obviously there's internal construction going on inside this plant. On the roof, the part of the weatherproof membrane that was pulled away on my previous video has now been re-glued in, and there's some more structures that have been added on top of the roof. And with the cones and that red flag item on the top of the roof, it shows that's where there may be some additional work coming up very soon. So I bring the drone back down to a lower altitude. Can see what the wade pit looks like, which really hasn't been used in quite some time, and also the cell test lab. Next to this test lab is all of the steel corrugated pipe, which continues to be brought in and stored here temporarily. And this is all going to be part of that underground water management system that joins that large construction zone on the west side of the die shop to that filtration pond. All of this area is continuing to be used for fill dirt. We're seeing the center dump trucks picking it up here and transporting it over to the site next to the electrical switch yard to help raise that grade. And as we suspected several months ago when they started making this pile, this is just temporary storage for it until it was needed. And this is a great shot back to the main factory and the battery cathode plant to give you perspective where we are located and what this part of the site looks like. Now, while we are here, I thought it would take the opportunity to fly over towards this large clearing that has a lot of materials, some of which are those red and white painted items on the left. We see some other beams and structures here on that concrete lined section. And in addition to that, I also wanted to show you this roadway, kind of a dirt road going through the trees here, winding its way all the way back down towards the electrical switch yard. This is one of the routes that they are now using for those center dump trucks with the dirt to go back to that site to fill in that area. And this is also a nice view of where they are continuing to bring that dirt from that northeast side over to raise the grade and prepare all of this for the extension of the switch yard, and that will double it in size. So ultimately it will be kind of a mirror of what we see on the right hand side of the screen, right in the middle of the screen. And this is a great look all the way across this site and back towards the battery cathode plant and die shop. it may be hard to tell, but these are actually two different and separate construction sites. On the right is for that electrical switchyard, and that'll be handled by the Lower Colorado River Authority, or LCRA, in conjunction with ERCOT, which is the energy provider for Texas. And so this site here, with a lot of the activity raising the grade, is basically one separate construction site for the electrical system, and behind the drone is that central support facility, which is going to be for the Cortex II. So hopefully that makes sense as we fly along this part of the site. Now, as we get to this part of the area where they're doing the construction for the Megapacks, I wanted to show you more Megapacks have been delivered at the bottom of the screen. Some of them, the trucks, have already had the Megapacks removed and placed onto their pedestals. We can see that activity going on here. I'll just fly by and give you a really good close-in view of how this is working. You can see that load leveler with the straps on the Megapacks. Also pay attention to the workers so you can get a good idea of the scale that is involved here. These are quite large Megapacks, and also we can see that we're close to about 3/4 of all the Megapacks installed. Once that is done, which I expect to be probably by the end of the weekend, they'll begin doing the electrical connections between the transformers down the middle and the Megapacks. So anyway, I'll pull up and just give you a closer view from a bird's eye perspective of what this Megapack site looks like. As we turn towards the Central Support Campus facility construction site, we see a lot of development, and I'll call out some of that right now. First of all is the amount of steel that is being delivered. Not only is it arriving on site, but it is beginning to be placed near the footings where they will be installed. We also note that these are both beams and columns, so that will show that vertical assembly will be coming very soon. Also note the perimeter grade beam is really taking shape all along where the building footprint will be. Now the perimeter grade beam is essentially the base of the walls, and it's kind of giving us an outline of this structure. Now on the ground at this closer distance, we can tell the ones that are the columns, they have like little feet, and then the beams that will connect them. The temporary warehouse on the left is storing some, looks like platform items. And we see more steel being moved, and this is a close-in view of that perimeter grade beam. You can also tell where the column mounts are going to be along this beam with those kind of protruding square footings next to the wall. And also this is a look to the north, just showing you how far they are extending this perimeter grade beam. It's even going beyond where the footings are currently. And another close-in view of some of the already painted white or powder-coated white steel items. And a look at that perimeter grade beam extending to the north. Some of these footings, the ones that have the tie bars, are probably going to have X beams in it for structure of the main facility as well. And that'll add some rigidity to it. And we'll see those throughout the site at various different locations. On the bottom of the screen, more work on perimeter grade beam excavation and rebar installation. And also we can tell where the forms are, where concrete will be poured soon. So we can also tell that on the bottom of the screen, the location where they are assembling rebar cages has been shifted to the north. This is most likely just to be able to have them closer to where the footings will be excavated on this part of the site as they continue to move forward towards the north. And I'll fly back over the perimeter grade beam just a little bit closer in so you can get a good view of how this looks. Also the scale with the workers and how this is all continuing to make progress. And the last thing that is noticeable here, and I think it goes without saying, is this is one large structure now. It does not look like it's going to be the two smaller rectangular next to each other structures that we saw in the permit that was filed earlier this year. So I'm not sure why the change has been made, but it does look like there is definitely a change. Now I'm going to fly up at a higher altitude along this part of the site, bring the drone's pan up, and we'll prepare to end the video for today and for the weekend. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate your support. It does help me quite a bit. And I hope that you enjoyed what we were able to see and talk about today, plus all of the Cybertrucks, the information about the new long-range rear-wheel drive, and other items. Take care and have a great weekend.